All right, welcome back. I'm joined by Chemung County Executive Chris Moss. Thank you for being with us this morning.
Thanks for having me.
So he's just going to update us on the progress and some county objectives. I have an article from your first day on the job. Probably seems like a long time ago now.
Yeah.
January 2nd. So some of the things you outlined in here as wanting to accomplish, one of them was term limits. What have you done for that so far?
Certainly, we sent a proposal to the legislature almost 2 months ago. I haven't heard anything from them. I don't think some of them are for term limits, but it's one of the things we campaigned on. It's one of the things I think will be helpful in local government. So I'm hopeful sooner or later they'll either send some ideas back or want to tweak it or let me know. But to this point, I haven't heard anything from the legislature.
And would those be retroactive? So would the people that are currently in violation have to be let go?
No, my proposal would be this would start the next election.
Okay. And we also talked about in this article how people in New York are leaving at such a rapid pace, and you said we have to train young people for jobs that are available in the area already.
Yeah, and we need some help from the state on that. Unfortunately, because of state mandates, that's a lot of the reasons young people and people altogether are leaving the state of New York. Locally here, obviously, we have to have jobs to have people here. When families have their kids get out of college, to have them come back to the southern tier would be great. So, I mean, one of the things we need to work on is our economic development. As you know, we've hired a new director of the IDA, Joe Roman, so we're expecting big things from him. So it takes time, but definitely a goal of ours.
So also in this article, we talked about how before you even were sworn in, you fired several key figures. So I want to talk about something you posted on Facebook yesterday. So you responded to Joe Brennan, the legislator from the 4th District. He said that the deputy clerk was retiring. He said that it was because you brought stress on her, causing her to retire, and now you're saying the deputy can only work part-time. Chris, have you forgotten we're supposed to be on the same team? So how did you respond to that?
Basically, look, I'm not going to get into why anybody leaves or stays. The fact of the matter is they have 2 full-time individuals, a clerk and a deputy clerk. The clerk retired, replaced by the deputy clerk. I think the deputy clerk replacement for that can be handled on a part-time, not full-time. But at the end of the day, we have 15 legislators up there, all independently thinking. Unfortunately, there's really no direction for them right now. And when what's going on, what I don't think that people realize is we have a county charter system form of government in Chemung County. The legislative branch and executive branch are supposed to share the authority. Right now, resolutions in Chemung County are being drafted, reviewed, and passed by the legislature and never even being sent to the executive branch. So to continue to go that process, what the legislature has done is pass their own local law to bypass the executive branch, and that's what local law number 2 was that I vetoed a couple of weeks ago. So, I mean, that's what the charter discussion is about, and that's what the disagreement and interpretation is about. So hopefully eventually we'll get through it.
You did also respond to that in your post on Facebook last night, talking about, you've been in the headlines a lot over that firing of Brian Maggs. I'm sure everyone remembers that. So you were talking about how the issue is really still over who has the power to hire and fire. Is that still the crux of the issue? You saying
the crux of the issue is the executive branch runs all the departments. The previous county attorney legislative attorney was appointed by the county executive. Obviously, I want the same privilege, and they don't see it that way. But I've offered them twice on March 4th, and again Monday night. They can hire their own attorney. That's fine. Let's separate out some of the duties. They've turned down both offers. They've never sent a counter offer. They had an executive session on Monday night, which they turned down the second offer from our attorney. But you didn't see him run to the news with that. So you know what? I think what we need to do is put it out there and let the public see that we're trying to settle it, but it's not happening.
And why do you think this has never been an issue before?
Because I think the previous administration, the county executive, Tom Santulli and Mike Cruzen, they were all set with the form, the way they were doing things. But when you look at the charter, the executive branch does have the authority to write the resolutions. When I was elected, I want to write the resolutions. They can be reviewed by the legislative attorney, but that's not happening. They're not even sending to the executive branch. So they're really bypassing the whole purpose for the county executive form of government.
And you did say right in your Facebook post last night, it's becoming more clear that they're more interested in changing our current form of government, whereupon the county legislature directs the county manager rather than having an independent elected county executive. Do you
Certainly, if you look at counties like Steuben County, Schuyler County, they don't have an elected county executive. They have a county manager who's accountable to the county legislature. We don't do that in Chemung County. I mean, we've had the county executive form of government since 1973, 1974 era. So again, I think that's the type of government that the residents want in Chemung County. And I can tell you this, everyone was talking about the charter during election time last fall. When it came to a section of the charter that the legislature didn't like, what do? They amend the charter through a local law in an attempt to decrease the authority of the county executive's office. So, I mean, that's kind of where we're at, but hopefully we'll get through it and move on because we have a lot of important issues that we need to address.
Right, and the last thing I want to touch on is that you were talking about those 2 proposals that were turned down. You did actually post them in full on your Facebook page last night for the public to review. And in our article on January from your first day of job, you said you wanted to improve the transparency of local government. Talk about how that's working to improve on that.
You know, I just think the public wants to know, boy, was there an offer made? Was there not an offer made? If you're transparent and put it out there, it's out there. If the public likes it, that's great. If they don't like it, I can deal with that too. But I think even on the legislature's part, I think you're seeing a more open, transparent form of government than you've seen in the past. And I think once we start broadcasting, live casting, our legislative meetings, our committee meetings, our civil service meetings, I think that's going to be great for the public. So we're working on that now, and hopefully we'll get some cooperation from the legislature when I send that upstairs.
When do you hope for that to start, the live streaming?
I hope to send that upstairs in the next 30 days.
All right. Thank you so much, Chris Moss,
Thanks
for being
for
with us this morning.
I appreciate it.
All right, we're going to toss it over to Dylan for another look, or actually going to toss it to break, but keep it here for another look at our forecast from Dylan.